you guys have seen this amazing growth. You've had the right tools. You've had the commitment to customers. Maybe if each of you could just take a quick minute and share maybe a tip or something that you've learned or things that you guys are implementing that is fueling that growth and helping you to overcome those challenges. I don't know, Shane, maybe you could share with us first some of the lessons and things that you're seeing in this, hyper growth phase.
Yeah, we're fortunate here at Modere. We're going through an extreme hyper growth phase, like you mentioned. And I think what I've learned is, when you talk about growth, I think people are like, oh, well, that's good problems to have. But what I've learned is good problems quickly turn into problems, and that you need to make sure that as you're prepared with things that are scalable at any given time, because growth so many times is unpredictable. And so if you don't have things that scale very quickly, I think you can very quickly find yourself in a between a rock and a hard spot. And that's why I think it's so important to have partners and tools and systems and processes that even maybe you're not going through hypergrowth right now, that can be scaled to a point, because you can never predict. And I've never met someone that can predict when a team's going to be onboarded or when you're going to run into that. And if you're not prepared for it, like I said, you think it's a good problem until you erode customer confidence, and then that leads up to the distributor ranks, and it starts to erode from the bottom up. And so you just want to make sure you're always prepared with scale.
Yeah, I think that's been one of the fun things for us to see is as you guys have grown and scaled, is being able to grow with you and do that. Even we're entering into a bunch of international markets and providing the tools and the excitement that comes there, where I think that's a key lesson to learn, that if you don't have the platforms and things in place to grow with you, those problems that you talk about, Shane, that become problems, they become even bigger problems if you can't scale with it. Jeff, maybe you could share with us some of the lessons and things. You're fairly new over at Modere, so you've been thrown right into the fire, into the deep end of doing it. So what are some of the things that you're seeing that are working, and how you guys are handling this growth phase?
Well, I mean, there's so many things that you could put onto that, but I think one of the critical pieces is even when these unforeseen challenges and growth pains, or whatever you want to term it, come, the ability to still communicate, right? And manage expectations through communication. And I think that's where, just to kind of reiterate, these tools, having tools or pieces in place that will help you in that communication. And if you have clear communication and transparency, really, no matter what the pain points, the unforeseen challenges, whether it's supply chain or customer service wait times or whatever it is, if you have that clear communication and authenticity and transparency, and ability to manage the expectation of the customers, they can still find that value even when it's being strained due to kind of, some of these unforeseen challenges where the extreme demand, surpasses the supply and makes everything go in, survival mode of trying to catch up with the growth. But I think communication and having tools like the app we've talked about, I mean, those become lifelines in the chaos of the growth. And that's been completely obvious in my experience with Modere and in other companies as well.
Yeah, and I think you create a lot of goodwill and patience when you have that transparency, that communication, and you give them the tools to continue to grow. I think you then buy that goodwill that will help them to, stay with you and get through those growth pains. And Craig, maybe you've been a leader within the industry. You've seen a lot of growth with different companies. You've been involved with startups all the way to, companies that are having massive growth. What are kind of some of the main lessons you've been learning of late that are takeaways for you?
Yeah, well, if it's okay, I'm gonna pile on a little bit to Shane's answer in terms of scalability, and I'm not exactly sure who your audience here is, McKinley, and you've asked us not to, we don't need to like openly plug for you, but I'm gonna shameless plug for you, and you can catch up with me at lunch or something later. But Shane talks about scalability and how again, you can have growth problems, and growth problems are good problems until they become problems that start to impact your ability to retain customers and communicate with customers and ship product to customers. And so here's one of the things that we have appreciated about our partnership in terms of scalability is that, we're in a situation again of hypergrowth where, like Shane said, like we didn't have the crystal ball out. So, we're facing problems upstream with supply chain and getting products, which then, inhibit our ability to fulfill orders, and then things go on back order. And then, some of our infrastructure, wasn't prepared for that kind of load, nor for the kind of ecosystem where we did go into, back order situations, and then transparency into when, my order is shipping. And everyone these days wants an Amazon experience in terms of their shopping situation and notifications. And it's very hard at times for, a newer company that's getting going, to scale. But here's what hasn't hurt us in terms of scale is the use of our app. Our people have been able to continue, to use that because, quite frankly, what's great about our partnership is that we haven't had to in-house create this thing. You guys keep on top of scalability. You keep up with what's going on in the industry. You keep your database clean. You keep, your functionality and user experience and load testing and all of that thing. You're keeping up with demand on that side, all right, to where that has continued to go smoothly for us. And so, again, I've been part of companies before who have refused to, go out of house for, for tools and for these types of things. It's like, no, we want to be homegrown and we can do this cheaper or better, or, our company is too niched to, to use a third, a vendor tool. Guys, I'm telling you, it pays dividend in the long run. And we are experiencing a case study right now where keeping our homegrown in-house platforms, our e-commerce platform, our supply chain, logistics and transparency, very hard to keep up with scale, but on our app, on our Verb app, on our, on our sampling program, on our shareable asset program, and all of that, the scale is there. We haven't had any lag time. We've had no, bottlenecking in that aspect of our business. And so, I just, again, want to give kudos to you guys and what you do on that. And again, as we have experienced hypergrowth, like you need to look at things that, what could tumble our company? What could bottleneck this project or this aspect of our business? And I'm not, and what things can we use that that would help us keep on track? And so we're grateful, for that piece of it. So anyway, we said a mouthful here, and I'll
that's great. I appreciate you sharing that. And for us, we strive to do that because we want you to be able to focus on what you do best, because you've got plenty of things that you guys are doing, and we try to strive to do that and do what we do best. We're grateful for, this partnership, and I'm grateful to the three of you for your friendship. And, it's been 20 years and looking forward to doing this together for a number of more years. So thanks again for jumping on today, guys. Really appreciate your time and what you've shared.
You bet. Thanks, McKinley.
Thanks, McKinley.